Wait, do you ever get disappointed when you're showing someone something for the first time and you really want them to get it? And
No,
they
not
don't?
at all. I think
Yes.
Oh.
Matt knew exactly where I was
Absolutely.
going with that question.
I'm clearly an Eeyore.
I'm probably Rue.
I'm a Christopher Robin with a poo rising.
And then I get in a canoe and I'm like, Clairs don't like canoes.
No, they don't.
I'm afraid of this lake.
That's exactly what it was.
Ow.
It was a beautiful moment in our friendship. I was
literally in the middle of getting her up and down the
Pathetic.
stairs. Ow. I was like, I'm trying to get my hair done. I'm like,
I don't think that's an accurate representation of my owl.
well, you were in such pain you couldn't see clearly. So,
Trauma.
Thank you for listening to the Last Will podcast. I'm Matt Young. I'm a theater educator and a parent. And ever since I lost my father to cancer, I have been mildly obsessed with death. This is my last will and testament. Jim Valvano once said, "My father gave me the greatest gift anybody could give another person. He believed in me." Today, we have a special episode honoring Father's Day. I am joined by the boys. Potter and Sawyer join me for a fun episode about fathers and sons and Father's Day. Potter liked to play with the microphone stand a lot, so if you hear a lot of cricking and cracking and all of that stuff, give him a little grace. All right, it was his first time. I hope you enjoy the episode.
Or half Sprite thingy.
What is it?
It's like half seltzer, half Sprite because it was the lemon lime.
Oh, okay. I think it's got caffeine in it. Uh-oh.
So how close do these mics have to be?
Just like this close. But like when you talk into it, I check your levels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. And then I can add or subtract. That's the way that it works.
We need to get comfortable with our projection.
More than the Mead soundboard ever did.
Yes, they
Well, I
had
mean, this is much more closely monitored.
they struggled with their when things would go. They always kept the piano up too high.
And another thing is I feel like they always like keep it at one spot.
Yeah, they just let it go. They're not riding it during performance and stuff like that.
Like, this is the one good spot.
right.
Can't move anything
Yeah.
from there.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
So I just pressed record, so that we're like on.
That's what those lines are.
yes, the lines.
Ah,
You can see the lines.
yeah.
You can
Peripheral
Absolutely.
view.
So today is a special episode because it's the Father's Day episode,
Woohoo!
and I brought my two special friends here for the first time. So first of all, welcome to the Last Will podcast. Do you guys have any clue why I started this?
I think I read the Spotify description.
Okay.
I also vaguely remember reading the Spotify description.
So basically, this is on Father's Day. This is a great way to start, especially with you guys. Like, there's this thing in the back of my head about death, and I just wanted to make sure that if something ever happened to me, that you both would have an opportunity to hear my opinions on every subject I could think of after I was gone. Now, you didn't have to listen to it at all, but like the idea of legacy came up in my brain, and like, what was I leaving behind for you guys to think about? So I thought maybe putting a podcast together about like a last will and testament and stuff like that, and talking with my friends and our opinions and sharing them, would kind of leave something behind for you guys to, I don't know, be able to tap into after I was gone. And so that's why I decided to do it. What it turns out to be is something where I share my vulnerability, and people who listen sometimes feel like they're seen in terms of what I'm sharing, in terms of my vulnerabilities and stuff like that. They can kind of relate to the struggles that I put out there and realize that they're not alone and that they're seen. And I think that that's a really, really important thing. And that has been the byproduct of what's happened with the podcast. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's a very sweet thought.
Well, that's what I wanted to do. And so then it's also become like a bit of a therapy session. It's also been like an opportunity for me to make appointments with my friends, to see my friends, to be able to talk with my friends and stuff like that. And I think that's important too. Sometimes we have to make an effort. It doesn't come easy. Like you, Potter just graduated and stuff, so you're not going to see a lot of those people. And so it's like, if you want to keep those friendships up, you're going to have to put that at the forefront.
You better start a
effort.
podcast.
I bet it's not a bad idea.
Podcast equipment is expensive, but I mean, there's a few things here.
Right, you could take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, that's why I started. So, hi, boys.
Hello.
Hi.
You want to introduce yourselves?
You first.
Okay, me first. Hi, I'm Sawyer Young. I just moved up from 11th grade to 12th grade in high school. I'm going to be a senior this year. I'm the older of the two sons, and
The taller. For
Not
now.
for long.
hopefully for now. Okay, it's been this way for 17 years, and I'm going to hope I can keep it up for at least 1-2 more.
I think you got at least 2 more in you.
Okay, that's my goal now.
That's what you think.
Well, I know it's inevitable you're going to get taller than me. It's just when.
Fair point.
And if I say that, I can't be disappointed when you do eventually get taller than me. It's a safety net for the future.
That's true. What about you? Who are you?
I'm Potter, and I just graduated 8th grade, and so now I'm moving on to high school.
With me.
Yes, with him.
Are you going to speak to your brother at all during the day when you're in high school?
I don't
Or
know.
are you going to ignore him?
I might try my best, but I don't think he's gonna make it easy.
I will do my best to embarrass you publicly in front of my friends, but in a nice way.
I mean, I feel like that's the right of the older brother.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
older brother can.
you've had this thing going for a while where you've really avoided at every single opportunity meeting my high school friends. So once you're in the same building, it's going to be a little bit more difficult.
I think that's true. So what are the things that you like to do, Potter? Because you're a little bit of I would say the shyer one out in public,
That's fair enough.
except when he's with his friends.
Yeah.
And I enter the room and he's with his friends, and then he puts everything on silent, and then
Yeah, mute and deafen.
yes,
I
So
mute
know-
myself so they don't hear me
So I know
talking
you're up
to you.
I know you're up to no good. So what are the things that you really like to do?
I mean,
Tell us a little about yourself.
I like to play video games a little too much, and
That's it.
I don't know.
What kind of games? Like, explain to me your favorite game.
I mean, I like Roblox, but that's more of a game platform with a bunch of games.
Okay.
But I have recently been playing a lot of this game called Balatro. It's a kind of poker game where you use Joker cards and try and get the highest possible amount of score.
Are you ready to go to the casinos?
Definitely.
I don't
Okay.
think he's legally allowed to do that yet.
Well, I gotta say though, he's getting tall enough that he could probably pass for. Maybe.
He always pressures me about getting a car. He's like, graduation gift? How about a car?
I also
Well,
get
I
a
mean-
job in a car.
Okay, you're worried about driving in a car. I'm 17. I haven't gotten my license. That's been a little bit of a pressure for me.
Right. No shame in that. But your cousin's been driving. It feels like for 6 years now.
Yeah. No shame, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No pressure, but you will have to drive me to school next year at least a few times.
Yeah,
It would be nice, right? It would be nice.
yeah, to save my parents a little bit of the driving some days, occasionally, would probably be helpful.
You'll feel much more freedom in your life. Or
Yeah.
if you get friends with licenses, that helps too.
Yeah, but it doesn't help when you go to a school in Greenwich and you live in Norwalk. So all of your friends are already a 30-minute drive away from you.
Well, if you have a car, it makes it easier.
Well, the car makes it easier, but then their driving becomes less of a privilege for you because you have to somehow get over there, which also involves a drive, which means you're basically just getting someone else to drive for you anyways.
Yes, and you just spend your life in the car.
30-minute drive compared to a 5-hour walk, okay? So
Well, yeah, I don't...
listen to Mr. Glass half full over here. All right. So now that we've introduced ourselves, today is our special Father's Day episode, and that's why I forced you guys to be here.
yay.
And you're doing great so far. But usually what we like to do is we start off with a definition. And so because today is the Father's Day, we're going to start with the Father's Day. The origins of Father's Day. Historical background. The idea of honoring fathers dates back centuries, but the modern celebration of Father's Day, as we know it, has a more recent origin. The modern Father's Day movement in the United States is often credited to Sonora Smart Dodd of Spokane, Washington. Sonora Smart Dodd, inspired by Mother's Day, which Mother's Day came first, right? She wanted to create a day to honor fathers. Her father, William Jackson Smart, was a Civil War veteran and a single parent who raised 6 children. In 1909, Sonora proposed a day to honor fathers, and the first Father's Day was celebrated on June 19th, 1910 in Spokane, Washington. The idea gained popularity, and various states and organizations began observing the day. Official recognition, wow, words, hi, reading, sometimes a struggle. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson endorsed the idea of a National Father's Day, and he even attended celebrations. The holiday was officially recognized as a federal holiday in the United States in 1972 when President Richard Nixon signed it into law, establishing the third Sunday of June as Father's Day.
1972.
Yes.
So, like, just barely over 50 years old. Wow.
Yeah, officially, the third Sunday of June. Is this today the third Sunday in June already? No.
Oh, no.
Maybe we started off on a Sunday. That's what it was.
Yeah, what's the date today?
June 1st was a Sunday. That's probably, yeah.
No, June 1st was a Sunday.
I thought it was a
slipped in.
concrete date, not one of those
No.
third Tuesdays of Novemberary.
No, it's
Nope.
not. Father's Day is a relatively modern holiday that honors paternal bonds and the influence of fathers in society. Its origins are rooted in the early 20th century efforts, especially driven by Sonora Smart Dodd, create a special day in recognition of fathers across the United States. That's what it says. What does Father's Day mean to you? For me, I'll just say it's complicated, right? Because I'm very proud to be your father, but also, like, my father's not here. So there is, like, a little bit of sadness because there's a big golf tournament that happens every Father's Day called the U.S. Open. Now, you guys aren't really into sports or whatnot, and certainly not into golf, but there are 4 major tournaments in golf, and one is the U.S. Open. And that was his favorite tournament, and it always happens on Father's Day. And we used to watch it religiously. It was always on the TV, and I grew up with it. I kind of paid attention to it in the last 5 years or stuff like that, but I know what's going on. So it was like his favorite tournament reminds me very much of him because he was a professional golfer for many years, and so it's complicated, you know. It's definitely complicated. What does it mean for you? It means like you got to get me a mug. What do you think?
You want to go? Or do you want me to go?
I think you should go. I'm formulating my thoughts right now.
Hey, and also like, don't worry about. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Like, we certainly know it's not. Doesn't seem as important as Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, honoring your mother feels like just more important. I don't know why, but it just feels like in society we think of the mother as the caretaker, and so
Yeah, I mean that like stereotypical role in society has probably led to like thinking of mothers, at least in that role, to be a more important consideration, even if when looking at it from like a purely logical angle, they should be equal holidays. But yeah, I mean, based on what you said on the description of Father's Day, it came around because Mother's Day already existed.
Yep,
and I mean
absolutely.
at the time, I'm assuming that like 90% of all families were like the mom is taking care of the kids and the dad's going off to work, and at that time they're not really like, they're only acting as a father for like half of the day, really. So
right, maybe if they see you in the morning. I mean, that's the old standard for the family. Like the one
Yeah.
that I grew up in was the father leaves in the morning for work and then comes home for dinner at night, and maybe you have a couple of hours and stuff. I mean, my dad definitely made an effort to be involved in all the sports that I played and see the plays that I do and be around because his father wasn't very good that way. But that's like the typical thing that you grew up, that we knew as the nuclear family from
Yeah.
like the 50s on. The way they made sitcoms were based upon that.
Mm-hmm.
What about? Did I cut you off? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't.
What about you, Pop? What does it mean?
I mean, I guess it just kind of is like a celebration of for me, you as a father, and just like kind of thinking about family.
Okay. It's also the one day that I can like force you guys to do what I want.
Yeah, I mean, this is
this
is our first time here on this
Exactly.
podcast, so I mean, the way you got us to do it was by saying, "Hey, can you help me out with something tomorrow morning?" And we both said yes without really acknowledging what it was.
He asked you that yesterday.
I did. I knew I would wait for today to ask you. I don't even think I asked you. I just said, "Hey, you're gonna be
I
on
asked
it."
him in the morning. I was like, "Are you gonna do your podcast thing today?" Or and he's like, "I'm making you do it."
So we're gonna do it together. Well, it just felt right on Father's Day.
Yeah.
We used to have a tradition too. Do you guys remember what that tradition was? Because I don't think we've done it since. It certainly hasn't been a yearly thing that we've done since COVID. But do you remember what it was? What we used to do for Father's Day to kind of just mark it off the calendar?
Did we go to the club?
We didn't, which we are today. Although we did last year, but before that,
I don't know.
we used to go to the movies.
We did.
Yeah, it was a movie. Every movie, and usually Pixar was good to us. Pixar gave us a movie around Father's Day, like June, back when they used to have a big like release for the summer. And we used to go to the movies, and that was like our tradition, and it was nice. It was just nice. It was a way to get out to the movies. We get our movie snacks and stuff. I guess we go to the movies whenever we want now.
Yeah.
Whenever a good movie comes out.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, now it's much more of a just movie by movie basis rather than saving the date in specific, I guess. So-
Right. I thought about it, though. I looked at some of the movies today about going out and seeing them, and I don't know that there was anything that you guys would have wanted to see. I would have wanted to make you see stuff like The Ballerina, like take you guys to. Have we gone to a rated R? We've gone to one rated R movie in the theaters.
One.
Do you remember
Deadpool
what that
and Wolverine.
was? Yep.
Yep.
That was the one. Other than that, they've all been PG-13. And you
Yeah.
guys have been very good at like obeying the law. I used to say to Sawyer, like, "Do you want to watch a rated R movie here? We can watch one." And he'd go, "Nah, let's watch this other thing. It's fine, PG." So that's what we used. That's what we used to do. It's kind of nice to have a tradition that we can kind of fall into every year. I mean, maybe it is we go to the club for some sort of barbecue. Maybe that'll just be the way that we do it.
Or maybe this becomes a yearly tradition.
I mean, that would be pretty cool, right?
I mean, how long have you been doing this podcast? I don't know.
I feel like it's at least been, it's over a year. Has it been 2 years? I don't know if it's 2 years yet. Maybe it's coming close to 2 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. This will be episode 88.
88.
Even though we have done some repeated ones, stuff like that.
That's a lot of
All right,
episodes.
I got like a list of questions, father-son questions, or father-son quotes. We could talk about them, or would you rather have the questions? Let's do the questions then.
Yeah, hit us with some questions first.
All right.
We are getting quizzed.
Yes, just give me a second. Okay. Okay. What's the last thing that surprised you? Just in life in general.
I don't have a good memory, I'll tell you that much.
Potter's ability to graduate middle school. I'm kidding.
That's
It was
so rude.
That was shocking to us all.
So rude.
Well, I mean,
I was surprised. This is what I'll say. I was surprised with, and not that I probably shouldn't have been surprised, but how comfortable you were with your speech up there, like controlling the room. Like you didn't rush, you took your time, you set up your jokes, you hit your punchlines. I mean, it was, for someone who doesn't think of themselves as a performer, it was a pretty like solid performance. So that I was a little surprised by that.
I mean, fake it till you make it.
Is
Yeah.
that it? You're gonna hit us with the cliches?
well, I mean, as he's just talking, your face said it all. The no slight shaking the head back and forth.
Well, the speech that they made about you, were you able to hear that?
Yeah.
What was being said? I mean, I know you heard the words, but were you able to take it in?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of felt like how the teachers give reports, kind of the same feeling as that,
Yeah.
just like on a bigger scale.
More personal too.
Yeah.
What in the speech surprised you then? Was there anything that you heard that surprised you?
Not really. I kind of felt like it was going to say, like, oh, Potter's a great student, something, something. He's been there for a while, something, something.
A really long while.
A really long while.
Yeah, you were there for a long time. But did you really think that that's what she was going to say about you?
I mean, I kind of expected the kind of, like, sentimental stuff and, like, describing me as a learner
Yeah.
and, like, my...
What about when she said that
experiences.
you were a leader and that when you say things, people listen and
I
you have a
mean-
great influence over people and that when you were talking to that audience, you controlled them. They were listening to you. They were leaning in. That wasn't true for everybody who spoke.
I was about to say, yeah, it's not just because it was a graduation speech that people were hooked.
I mean, I've never really thought of myself as a leader, but, I mean... I'm not sure. I guess it... Yeah, I don't know.
Don't
what
worry.
to say.
You're just talking into a microphone. It doesn't sound like it records it or anything like that. Was there anything that surprised you that you heard about your brother?
Well, I mean, I think I've gotten to know you as well as anyone has. I mean, we spend as much of our time together as we can. Or, I mean, as much time as you spend with other people, I probably spend an equal amount with you, which...
The maximum amount of time
the
without
maximum
murdering
amount of
someone?
time. Yeah, the maximum amount of time possible.
Maybe like 12 minutes.
I mean, it just sounded like effectively the best version of you. I also found it really funny when your teacher mentioned that you don't think you're good at introspection, but you really are, and then in your speech immediately following that saying, I'm not the best at reflection.
I mean, I was going to say contrary, but...
Yeah, no. She was right. And I think that's just a perception that you have of yourself as opposed to the truth.
Maybe.
What about you, Sawyer? What was the last thing that surprised you?
Well, I mean, summer just arriving hit me like a freight train.
Okay.
It's always so weird to go from a completely normal day-to-day consistent schedule into...
Sleeping till noon?
Well, I mean, I was doing that anyways on the weekends, but
You
just...
were?
Yeah.
And yet when you were out of school and I had to go up, get up for work, you and your brother were up at like 8:30. Like you saw me off to work. I'm like, you guys are wasting your summer vacation.
It's
What's going
either
on?
like 8 or 12:30. There is no in between.
And when I wake up in the morning, I can't go back to sleep because it's bright outside, and then I'm like, oh, it's the morning, and then I try and go back to sleep. I've tried before, it doesn't work. And then when I do go back to sleep, I wake up and it's like, okay, well, if I woke up last time and it was like 9, it must be like 10, and that's like 7 or something.
It's my favorite. Let me just say, it's my favorite type of sleep. The go back to sleep is
Yeah.
my favorite type.
But I have to say, the only time it works for me is when I have to get up for something, or I think I have to get up for something, and that thing is canceled. Because, like, if I know I have a weekend, and I get up at 8, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can go back to sleep, I will be in bed for a maximum amount of time, like 30 more minutes, because I will just be lying awake, thinking about, I should be asleep right now.
And you're
But
not.
if it's school, and then a snow day happens, then I can sleep until, like, 1 p.m., It's wonderful. It's amazing.
You know, I remember a few years ago, I got really mad at one of my friends because I said that I didn't want to get, like, I didn't want to know if it was a snow day or not because the teacher said they might have a snow day. And then in the 8th grade group chat we have with me and my friends, someone just said, snow day tomorrow. And I just...
You can't be surprised anymore.
Can't, because then I'm gonna go to sleep thinking, yay, snow day tomorrow, instead of being like, oh, school, snow day, yay.
Yeah, you wanted to hold it off for the big surprise. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Could totally ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of the summer, anything else surprised you recently?
I mean, kind of halfway related, but my ability to make it through the school year into the summer.
Okay. You didn't think you were going to make it?
Well, not that, but, like, I was able to keep myself afloat, barely. Like, at the end, I was probably, like, drowning a little bit, but only a little bit. Like, I
Well,
was able to push through.
I mean, you were in deep water, like...
for a very long time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say, 3/4 of the way through where all the projects were coming, your show was coming, and you survived that better than I think you thought you did. I
Yeah.
think the lesson in general is it may feel like you're not going to survive, but you always do.
Yeah, I mean, I've spent probably the most time at that show in comparison to any other show, but that felt like, surprisingly, one of the, I guess, ones where Tech Week and Show Week were much less of a hindrance for me, because there's been a ton of other shows where that final Tech Week, I'm like emailing all of my teachers saying, hey, I'm in the middle of 8:30 start of school going till 9:30 p.m. at night. I can't get this work done. But surprisingly for School of Rock, it just, I don't know, it just kind of worked and happened. I only had to ask for extensions on like a few things, and like assignments just kind of worked around it a little bit. It was a miracle.
And those were the big assignments.
Yeah.
I think you can't ignore the fact that you were driving the work in the show, and sometimes as a side character, you're not driving the work, and the work feels a little behind because not everybody is showing up on time, showing up at all, doing the work and things like that. And I think when you, as the lead of that show, were leading by example, by getting things done, the show was in better shape, and so there was less stress. I think you got to give yourself credit for that.
I mean,
The only cast member who didn't miss a rehearsal.
it may have looked like that, but I will say by Final Tech, I was like, how are we going to pull this show together?
Well,
That's how it always looks.
Yeah.
Tech Week wasn't even really a week this year because stuff happened to line up with, I think it was Passover, so we had to move the show a bit earlier. So our Tech Week was like, okay, we're going to start on a Thursday,
Right.
and then Final Tech is on the next Tuesday, which is very weird. And we also had like Thursday rehearsal, Friday rehearsal, Saturday off, Sunday rehearsal, Monday off, Tuesday Final Tech. It was very, very, very weird. And at that time, I was like, this is all going to go absolutely horribly wrong.
but it didn't.
And it didn't.
It didn't. Because you were driving it, buddy. You were great. Great. Even your brother thought you were great. And he didn't like to give out compliments, do you, Potter?
I give out compliments to everybody but myself, frankly.
Oh, well.
I'd like to think
I know where
I
you
am
got that from.
I am very good at giving out compliments and very humble and very amazing.
Extremely humble.
Exactly.
Look at the depth of that humor.
Also related to my graduation speech, I almost wrote it entirely in one night.
There's something about the pressure of getting it done that I think motivates and excites. So that wouldn't surprise me.
I think excites should be replaced with terrifies.
It's adrenaline.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's a goal you're working on right now?
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. You like personally in school, physically. What?
I mean, my overall goal is to just not have this summer be a waste, because it's felt summer's always a break. That's nice, not having to deal with schoolwork and all of that. But this summer especially, I want to make sure I'm being productive the whole time, or not whole time, but for more of it than I usually am. So the overall goal is to work on, well, a bunch of things. I want to work on some of my college application stuff. I want to get my driver's license. I want to set up hangouts with my friends, do that kind of stuff, play Dungeons and Dragons. Like, there's a ton of things all happening all at once. And I just kind of want to, there's just a ton of goals that I want to work towards all this summer, which I hope I can do, but I'm also not expecting that it's going to go 100% well, because I think it's just a setup for failure.
Well, yeah. I mean, certainly perfection should not be the goal, but like the intent is, I want to have activities.
Yeah.
And if it's in any one of these categories, I'll be satisfied.
Yeah.
You're also going away too, so it's obviously not going to be a total bust.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have any goals?
I mean, I do want to stay in touch with my friends.
Okay.
That's probably one of my goals.
Get your driver's license.
I don't think I can do that yet
Why?
because I'm 14.
Oh, whatever.
They tend to only accept people 60 and up.
You know the rules that well. All right. What? So you want to stay in touch with your friends?
Yeah, I want to prepare myself for high school.
What does that mean to you?
I don't know.
I'm
Maybe
going to
get
look over
some
all
better
of my notes.
work habits.
Okay. You going to practice work habits over the summer?
No, but like mentally prepare myself
Okay.
and also not upset the physics teacher.
Oh wait, did you find out who your physics teacher is?
No, but one of the physics teachers, I was doing that one like ice cream tour day, and they were playing Jenga, and one of the physics teachers says, "If you beat me, I will remember. I will remember in a few years when you come to physics."
Nice. So you got threatened on your visit day.
Exactly.
You've been set up.
Okay. What about if there's? This is a big one. You both have strong feelings about the world right now, as you should. Shouldn't be a passenger. What is one thing that you would change in the world if you could?
That is a very big question.
Yep.
Very, very big.
Would it be too simple if I said gas prices?
I think you'd be lying.
Yes,
because you
'cause-
do not drive a car nor worry about gas prices.
Maybe.
You and your cliches.
Yeah.
But what does that mean to you? Gas prices. If you said gas prices,
I
'cause gas
just-
prices don't
inflation in general, I guess.
Okay.
'Cause
It was bad under Biden inflation. Is that what you're telling us?
Just inflation in general, the way a lot of things are just going like higher and higher in price, and like
Is that really what's troubling you? Prices?
We're talking about this on Father's Day where you're talking
Mhm.
to your father who pays for a lot of things for you.
It's prices?
mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm really thinking about
Listen, I bought like a bunch of presents for some of the people at graduation.
Yes.
$170.
Okay.
It was a little expensive.
How many presents did you buy?
12.
12 presents. Okay.
Mhm.
What was the average price of those presents?
I mean, some of them were like $30, but some of them were like $5.
Okay. So if you're spending $30 on Liv, because obviously she's going to get the best present. Out
I
of
think hers
anybody.
was like $8.
Oh my God.
Who'd you spend $30 on?
I think it was like, I don't know, this like metal plate, I think. Wait, no, it was like, I don't remember exactly what was $30. I think there was this like mini like drink Stanley Cup thing.
Okay. Who was that for?
Lutza, it said Little Miss Swifty.
Okay.
So,
So one present was $30. We know that Stanleys are expensive. They're anywhere between
Even
20, 30, $40
it was
certain places.
so small.
Oh. Well, maybe you bought a did you go to the paper store? Is that what you
Yeah,
did?
it was paper
Okay,
store.
so paper store is going to be expensive. I don't know that inflation is the thing that is getting to you. You just,
I don't
you don't
think
have that
about-
much money and you don't want to spend all of your money. But it was very nice of you to be generous and get your friends gifts.
I was the only one to do it.
What was that?
I was the only one to do it.
Well, it just shows how good
As-
of a person you are.
Well, as a gift giver, I
expect
think
everything in return.
I think that's the wrong expectation. You can't ever have that. You got to give and not give to get.
Darn.
So your brother says inflation is the thing that he would change in the world right now. What about you, Sawyer? What would you change in the world if you could?
Again, it's going to sound very cliche, but I say empathy. Because I think a lot of our problems, I think, are caused by the very American mindset of a very American competitiveness.
Okay.
The very, if I work my hardest, I can get anything that I want. But that sometimes, well, not sometimes, pretty often leads to pushing down on other people. So I feel like if you just had more of the communal, like, effort and thought process of, like, helping everyone rather than just helping yourself, that would be a lot better. Again, cliche, but like
No, I don't think it is cliche. I think
Can I
right
change
now,
my answer?
it could be
Yes, you
cliche
can.
and right.
You can, but let's finish on empathy for a second. I think it's one of the most important things that's lacking in everyday society. It's not being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and when you do that, it's really hard to think about the human condition and then care about how people are being treated. And when you only care about how you are treated yourself, you tend to be more selfish. You tend to be more of a take than a give, or give and take, or wherever you want to put that balance. And you can be cruel, and being strict and having boundaries and all of that has nothing to do with cruelty, and people are choosing cruelty over empathy, and that's a problem, because we all weren't given the same set of circumstances to be successful. It's that's just not true. You look like you would say something.
To be fair, I do think when a lot of people, when I said cliche, it's because I've heard this statement said before, because I think, in my opinion, it's right. That's why I said it. But I do think there is also some kind of, I guess, also polarization with it, of like there's a ton of people who can understand what others are going through and just, again, choose like weighing their own problems as more important, which could either be, I don't need anything, but I'm still going to choose myself because I want something, or I think my things are more important and thus I need it. And I feel like if those tides were able to be turned just a little bit, that like empathy as a whole, I feel like a lot of people have to some extent. I feel like more people just need to take those feelings and act on it, because I feel like being human, survival instincts, I guess, it's not entirely about the self. I mean, how we survived partially is because we like came together and formed societies and community. I just feel like, I don't know, people are focusing too much on what they need when other people need a lot more. And even if you need something, it might be even a little better to help someone who has a lot more need.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I also think that it's important to have self-care. I also think
yes, definitely.
I think that it's important that you can care for yourself, but it can't be at the expense of others.
Yeah,
we can't be stepping on people's throats just so that we can get forward. You know, there has to be, if there's a certain amount of bread, we have to share that bread. We can't just take that bread and make sure that everybody else starves. That's not the way a society is ever going to work, and that's always going to pin us against each other. That's always going to make us adversaries, and that's just not how we've seen real success. And we have a lot of that right now going on in the world in general, which is it's us against them. It's mine versus us taking care of it. The idea of community is thought of as weakness and stuff like that, and it's embarrassing, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Potter, you wanted to change your answer, or are you still sticking with inflation?
Inflation.
But I kind of wanted to kind of like broaden my answer to more like the wealth inequality in the world.
There you go. No, absolutely.
That's a pretty good one.
You know, look, as a parent, I want to be able to set you guys up for success, but also you have to know how to create success financially for yourself, because that's just part of how we can survive. But how much is enough? You know, when the billionaires are controlling everything, and the 1% is dominating the 99% in terms of how they can live, that's just not right. There has to be more equality. I shouldn't be paying a higher percentage of my taxes than somebody who makes billions of dollars. It's just that's just silly. Okay, so we changed the world. That's good.
Problem solved.
What are some qualities in others that you admire?
I started last time. You can go this time.
Oh, okay.
It's true, we did. We've been going back and forth.
Again, I think the answer I'm going to go with is just outward empathy. Like,
okay.
I think seeing someone else's ability to care for other people is something I find really, not only important as someone who I'd want to like make friends with, be acquainted with, but also just as like something that inspires me.
I don't think any of your friends are empathetic. You know, I just don't think you're just not drawn to people like that.
Yeah, I think that's probably a baseline for me.
You surround yourself with the people you relate to.
Or surround yourself with the people who will build me up instead of tear me down. I think that's a general just mindset that a lot of people have.
How about you, Potter? Is that the same?
Listen, I've been distancing myself.
No, I think that's good. Look, we all have get into situations where we have friends who are, I think, so insecure that they have to tear you down in order to make themselves feel better. Yeah. And so That's totally understandable. What about you? What's something that you admire in other people?
Perseverance, honestly.
Okay.
Just like the ability to like persevere through like hard conditions and just like anything really. It's really admirable. And I'd say I can easily give up on a lot of stuff, and
Right.
when faced with hardships, it's really hard for me to go against it. So I really just like respect the people who can be faced with adversity and just like push through it.
Understandable. I mean, I have that too. You know, there are times where I really wish I could persevere over things that have been holding me back. You know, sometimes the anxiety feels too much. And so I pull myself out of situations instead of just stand up and try to walk through them. I always have regret, though, usually afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, I usually have that disappointment in myself. And so I think I have to remind myself each time at the end of that, what's worse, the anxiety that I have before something, before trying to persevere through it, or the disappointment that I have in myself afterwards.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty strong. I beat myself up for that a lot.
Yeah. To add to my answer, or not to add, but I don't want to get rid of empathy, but I feel like that's a very baseline answer for me. So I guess another trait that I want to add that's more unique to me is probably creativity and expression.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a part of the theater program, of course, I'm going to value expression, but I really admire people who are able to put a bit of themselves out there into the world and be like not ashamed about it. People who can go up on stage, play a character, act, and just like live in that moment. People who can make art that represents how they feel and put that up for other people. People who like can write things, compose things. That's something I've always admired, probably because it's something that I really aspire to get for myself.
Yeah.
But I really value, or I really appreciate and am inspired by people who are able to put themselves out there.
There's a vulnerability in art, you know?
Yeah.
Because people are going to judge and people are going to have an opinion, and that can be really hard for people. Anything else from you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, as Taylor Swift once said, haters gonna hate.
That's true.
She
They
did
are.
say that.
I think she said haters going to hate.
Hate. Yeah.
What about what's something that you're proud of?
Graduating, I think.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Because, like, I've gone through 10 years.
In
of
one
s-
place. That's a long time.
And I've seen it evolve. I've seen, like, a lot of people, they go by, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse with people leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, and even just, like, recently, like, a lot of the hard assignments and a lot of the drama between friends. It's been difficult, but I mean, I've went through it and I've graduated, and so now moving on to high school. So
All of it's difficult, you know. None of it is easy. So it is definitely something to be proud of, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you just left like a place you've been for how long, like 10 years?
Basically,
Yeah.
the only place you know. You don't remember the friend school. I can't imagine.
oh no, not really. I have this one vague memory, but then like cuts off after like 5 seconds.
5 seconds, that's longer than a lot of my memories.
Your hair was much shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Much shorter. What about you, buddy? What are you proud of? Something that you're proud of.
Is it me? Are you proud of me?
Well, yes, of course. I'm proud of you for graduating.
Thank
but also
you.
when I'm thinking to get another answer that might spark more conversation, and also to think about something I'm proud of that I did myself. Sorry.
Darn.
I think probably, I guess my growth actually probably over the course of high school, or over the course of my whole life, is a pretty big, pretty general thing. But I think high school, I've changed a lot. I've gone through a lot, and I think my ability to just change my mindset and outlook on a bunch of things has been really, I've been really proud of that. I mean, like, even just looking at this summer, I mentioned how I have like a ton of goals, a bunch of things that I want to do. I've been making plans. I've been making checklists. I've been doing things that I want to do because I want to do them. compared to past summers, which has been very like I've not been doing a lot, and instead of motivating myself with that, I've just been angry at myself for not getting done what I want to get done.
Right.
And I'm really proud of my, I guess, kind of not exactly switch over this year in terms of behavior, but switch in terms of mindset for the most part, because again, I doubt I'm going to get everything that I want to get done.
You're not.
over the summer
you're
because
absolutely not. It shouldn't be the goal, right?
yeah, I've set like 10 different things
Which
that
is-
want to
which
happen.
is
So I'm
good.
probably going to get my guess is like if I go through with stuff, it'll be the way I want to, like 6, 7. I'm definitely not going to get every single thing, but I think my ability to already just like start this summer with that purpose, with that motivation, and already I've accomplished some amount of things. I've cleaned like maybe 1/3 of my room a little bit.
Looks much
that's,
better.
That's
Looks
more
much better.
Amazing.
That's better than 0%.
You almost did like a 12-hour D&D marathon yesterday too. So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think you've become easier on yourself?
Yeah, I think so. I think definitely over the course of learning more about myself and my patterns of behavior has allowed me to recognize that being harsh on myself doesn't really get me anywhere. I still am harsh on myself sometimes because I don't think I'm ever going to ever completely move on.
Right,
but
right.
it's much easier to say, I didn't get stuff done today. That's okay.
Allow yourself a little bit of grace.
Yeah.
Realize that everything isn't hinging on this one thing.
I'm not going to clean 100% of my room today, but it's better than 0% and angry thoughts.
Because it's movement. It's you know what I say at the end of this podcast. I take a quote from Ted Lasso. It said onward, forward. You know, he's talking about, look, we're going to be sad about losing this game. We're going to be goldfish, then we're going to forget about it. We're going to move onward. We're going to go forward. And that's kind of like what you're doing. You're moving forward. You're doing some of these goals, whether it is 100% or it's not. I think that's really, really important.
What's it with people having epiphanies for problems I struggle with every day, yet I can't?
You'll have your journey eventually.
Well, I've often said too, like I can give great advice to all of my friends that I refuse to listen to.
Yeah,
You know, like I
me
can
too.
help them, I can help them out in like really thoughtful ways, and they will often turn it back on me and say, like, what you said this thing to me, why doesn't it apply to you? And I'm like, shut up.
Easier to say than it is to
Yeah,
do.
absolutely.
Shut up. I don't like your good logic.
Stop making sense.
But like just because something is difficult doesn't mean that it's impossible. And that's a thing that is not an easy idea to wrap your head around. You know, we feel it's impossible and it's not. And sometimes we have to fail, and failure is part of process. I mean, it's what I would tell my actors in a show. I mean, you learn much more from failure than you do from success.
Yeah.
It's just failure sucks, you know, and it doesn't make you feel good at all. But like winning, however you want to put winning on something, just makes you feel good for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And then whatever the next game is, you're looking to try to figure that out. And so it's temporary. Winning is like a temporary feeling. But when you learn from failure and you grow, that like stays with you for your whole life.
Yeah. And I mean, just kind of something, I guess, to look forward to in the future. I felt like when I was at your point, when I just graduated middle school, I had nothing figured out. And I'm pretty sure when I look back on this in 5 years, I'll say, wow, Sawyer had absolutely nothing figured out. But you just kind of keep going. You keep figuring out just like a little bit more and a little bit more over time. And you're never really going to stop learning about yourself. You're never going to stop changing your mindset and growing. And sometimes it'll be for the worst, but most of the time it's going to be for the best. And I mean, when you have this whole new experience of like high school on the horizon, I have a feeling that growth that's going to happen there is going to be something really big for you.
That and pizza.
That
Every
and pizza.
day you want.
Pizza.
Exactly.
It's really cheesy. I don't like it. You will.
Yeah, I love that.
Have
But-
you seen how he makes pizza? He adds gallons of tomato sauce. And
Okay,
he, like,
that's an
sprinkles a little bit of cheese.
Look, everybody has their own way.
Yeah, his
I
is
can
just
argue-
objectively wrong.
Oh, well.
And Potter makes literally just white pizza, except there's like the teeniest, like the minusculest layer of tomato sauce on there.
I
and
add a
then an
normal
entire,
amount.
Okay, and then an entire bag of cheese on top of there. You can't see any tomato sauce. The
That's
pizza
good.
looks white
This is
entirely.
the great pizza debate.
Yeah, we've been having this, and we will never stop.
Pancakes versus waffles.
Except it's the correct way of making pizza versus the incorrect way, and we can never agree on which
Yeah,
is
waffles are the correct way to eat.
which. What?
Yeah, they're better than pancakes.
Waffles are the best pancakes, is what you're saying?
Pancakes are much softer. They could be puffier.
I think
So
Sawyer
can
I
waffles.
think Sawyer would
Well,
say
yeah, but I
French
feel
toast
like-
is the best.
Okay.
Well, that's like a third.
That's a different
category.
argument.
Oh,
That's a
right.
different argument.
That's not Xbox versus PlayStation. That's Nintendo.
Okay.
But I mean, like, with waffles, you got to be more. Waffles, in my opinion, have to be more like crisp. Not like crisp, like bacon crisp, but like they have to hold form. Okay, pancakes are best when they're fluffy and soft. Okay, and I think fluffy and soft is better than crisp. If you have a soft waffle, that just feels like a sad waffle.
Well, I like softer waffles. I don't like them to be crunchy.
You like sad waffles. I don't
like
like
It should be a
crunchy.
little
waffles.
it should be a little crunchy on the outside and then soft
but
and fluffy inside,
still,
right?
Yeah.
with pancakes, there's really nothing you can do. Like, if you add a blueberry on top, it's just gonna roll off. You'd have to bake it in. But with the
Yes.
waffles, they have the little sections made for them.
Oh, for the syrup?
Yeah.
You're just so you
No,
like
not
it for
the syrup, but like even for
oh
like
for
blueberries.
If
or,
you want
like,
okay,
yeah.
it's got blueberry holders.
Okay, I will admit the design is superior, but the taste and pancakes
They're
and
basically the same
style-
besides from the design.
Will either of you, when you get a hot waffle or hot pancakes, will you smother it in butter?
I have, and I've loved it. I always go for the syrup first.
I'm a syrup above butter person for that.
I will not.
I feel like I failed you as a parent.
I will not discount butter. Butter is incredible, and several times I've had butter with the syrup, and it's incredible. I just feel like you could pour syrup on very easily, but butter takes like 2 bits more effort, and that's too much for
You
me.
just okay. This is awful. This is
Path
the
of
worst
least
thing I've ever heard.
resistance.
I just think you need soft butter and you need to smother the butter on first so
It's
it
the
melts into the
absolute best.
pancakes.
It's
And
the
then you put
absolute
the syrup
best.
on it.
It's the absolute best. I just haven't done it, and that's a fault of mine. I will admit, it's a
right.
fault of mine.
All right.
One offhanded comment turned
I
it
feel
into a
growth
babe.
in you.
You see,
I feel and see growth
I
in
can
you.
look at myself and realize I have made mistakes. I can go forward knowing
about
that I
the
can try.
pizza.
But I was about to say you cannot reflect on your inability to make a pizza with an actual correct amount of tomato sauce.
Because this is the correct amount of tomato sauce.
no, it is not.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not.
It is.
No, it is not.
Maybe the truth lives somewhere in between.
Maybe there's no
Never.
tomato sauce, no cheese. It's just bread.
Yeah,
That's
maybe
the best
maybe the solution is bread, and then you just change up the mixture a little bit, and then you get a pancake.
Obviously,
Mac and cheese with ketchup. How about that?
No,
I've seen it done. I've done it myself. I'm not proud.
How dare you?
I know. I've
to be
done
honest,
it
I think
myself.
I have also done it myself.
I'm taking back my Father's Day presents.
I would. If you're embarrassed and ashamed of me because of that, I totally get it. Obviously, the next time that you guys come onto this podcast, we have to just focus on food.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of debate going on. As we're pretty much towards the end of our podcast, if you could believe that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We usually record for like an hour, and we're almost at an hour. If you can believe that, you made it, even though you didn't think that you had anything that you were going to add to it, but you did.
Well, I mean, you did a lot by prompting us. That's a pretty
Well,
impactful.
that's
and then we
the
went on a
job
rant
as a
about
host.
pancakes and waffles and pizza for a long time, which is
That's the
the
stuff.
correct things
That's
to
the
debate
stuff
about.
that Grady's gonna love. So, so I just wanted to. I got a couple of like inspirational quotes from fathers that fathers should give to sons, and so I wanted to run them by you, see if they made sense to you. If you're like, that's garbage, or you like that.
I mean, if anything, we should be giving you the inspirational quotes. You shouldn't have to be doing the work.
Well,
We're supposed to be gifting you.
well, I appreciate that. Your presence here is the gift enough, and
Would have been much earlier in the morning if someone woke up.
Well, that's true too.
Wow. Okay.
Out. He was out cold. I delivered French toast to him out cold.
You know,
Didn't even stir as I tripped over things in the room. Okay, so first quote. Believe in yourself, for you are capable of more than you know. And that quote is attributed to Unknown. The great Unknown said that.
well, I feel like I have heard that before in general. It's a pretty,
It's a little corny, a little pedestrian, right?
yeah, a little bit.
But the idea is that you obviously you've got to give yourself more faith than you've given yourself because you're capable of what you don't even know. And this is what I wanted to say before we got into the pizza waffles argument.
Derailed the whole thing.
The thing that makes life so delicious, the thing that makes life so much fun is discovery. The idea of discovery. The thing that I love about art is that it puts discovery in the forefront. So when you can get into a mode of discovery being the thing that excites you, life just opens up for you. It's not about getting by. It's not about getting to the finish line. It's about being present in a moment and being open to what could strike you, that could inspire you, that can motivate you. That's a beautiful thing about life, I think. Discovery, the idea of discovery. I think the arts obviously has it in spades. It just gives you so many opportunities to figure out discovery. But like once that happens, life becomes a beautiful
Which
thing.
is exactly why, Potter, you should have done the fall play.
Listen.
You're gonna have to go to it anyway, so you're gonna have to be there.
You might as well.
I've been fidgeting with my mic the entire time. I feel like it keeps falling out of position, or I keep moving. I don't know.
The combo. It's a combo of the
It's a
thing.
combo, a little both.
Second one. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. That one was Eleanor Roosevelt. And I don't know. I don't want to slander anybody, but I believe Eleanor Roosevelt created a hospital for people who drank too much. So maybe. No, that's Betty Ford. Betty Ford did that. My bad. So the future
Incorrect
belongs to
history
those
facts.
who believe in the beauty of their dreams. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
If you have goals and dreams and inspirations going forward, then you have something to reach to. And if you don't, then it's much easier to stay stagnant.
It's true.
I wonder who made the phrase dreaming into like dreams into goals, basically. Because, dreams are just what happen when you sleep. And then they kind of like are also like goals you have.
What if it was the opposite? What if the word dream was associated to goals and then somebody associated it to the movies that happen when we sleep? I don't know that that's true.
That could be a whole like podcast episode.
Yeah,
we go,
I
we
mean,
go.
it's
It's a good question.
because if I remember correctly, people still don't fully know why dreams happen. So I mean, if that's a theory that like dreams are,
Your brain.
you're trying your
Your
goals are-
subconscious has something
You're
to say.
pre-
Some people think dreams mean nothing. Some people think dreams mean everything.
You're predicting the future when an evil monster is chasing you right outside of your house.
Oh no.
Is that a recurring dream?
No.
I have ones about driving, but I'll explain that some other time.
Is that a nightmare or is that a
That was a
dream?
little bit of a nightmare. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. That's
A little
so
bit of both.
Well, I think I've said it on this podcast, but I went to Disney World with my father. I think it was like 4 or 5, and we went on this ride called Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and it's got a steering wheel, and you're in this cart, and it turns and quicks and all this stuff, and he made me believe that I was actually driving, and that I was in control of it, and I just came out screaming and crying.
Oh no.
Oh my.
And I think I've had driving nightmares ever since.
That's so motivating.
But
for
he
me.
loved it. Cracked him up so much.
I think
that was
that's
very
the
funny.
I think that's the reason you have kids is just to mess with them.
To torture him a little
Sawyer,
bit.
you need to have one of those inciting incidents.
How do you know he hasn't?
Yeah. How do you know I haven't?
Is that what happened when you went to Disney World?
I will say I did not come out of any ride screaming and crying. So
No, that's true.
I don't think you're 4.
But we did,
don't put screaming and crying past me because I'm not 4. Okay.
but we did both. Whatchamacallit? We did both poop in Galaxy's Edge, though. That we did. We made our mark there in their bathrooms.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with the food. We had great food. Okay, hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destinies, and that was C.S. Lewis.
That makes sense, yeah. Because, like, if you fail, then you're going to be more prepared for it next time.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
definitely makes it sound grand too.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have superpowers or something. Don't be afraid to fail. Be afraid not to try. That is also from The Unknown. But it's kind of like what Yoda's always saying.
yeah. I mean, the advice that I'd give to anyone except myself.
Yes, actually, it's anti-Yoda because it's like be
he
afraid
speaks
not
normally.
to try, and he's like, don't try, do or do not. I guess it's the same thing. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And that was Winston Churchill. Do you guys know who Winston Churchill is?
British war guy?
I've heard
British war guy. Pretty
British
good.
war guy. I also heard he was kind of an awful person. I think. Maybe. I may be thinking of someone else.
No, I think awful person. There's definitely some gray area about who he was and how he did his work. The British would probably disagree, but it may be generational. Wasn't the greatest person, but like also was an inspirational figure during the war. But during war times, things are very, very different.
Yeah, inspirational figures during war.
I don't know.
We just pick it every time you move that mic. We pick it up.
You can have your mic in one position, and then you can move your head too.
He's treating it like a Rubik's cube. So all that noise, that's Potter. That's not Sawyer.
Jeez.
Winston Churchill, famous war guy. Yes. We were watching a movie last night, and there was a picture of the Louvre, and you're like, "Oh, the Louvre," and I was like, "Oh, it's the Louvre. That's nice." Because I'm just thinking, where would it come up? But sometimes things are just in the ether, and
That's just like that's just like the shape. It's the shape and the look of it that has to be.
That's true.
Which
Well,
one's the Louvre?
That was the last time I was very proud.
It's the one that looks like a pyramid, but like with glass and with like.
Oh,
shaped-
that one with the bunch of triangles.
I can't remember if it's triangles or diamonds, but something. It's pyramid out of glass.
Diamonds are just double-sided triangles.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll close with this last one. This is from A.A. Moline, who wrote the Winnie the Pooh stuff.
Oh.
Never forget that you are braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. I mean, I think that's just all about giving yourself credit, right? For not assuming the worst about yourself, which seems simple in practice, but is pretty important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the other one, dream big, work hard, stay humble.
I always
Potter's
stay
already doing
humble.
a great
yeah,
job at
I
staying
know.
humble.
I'm amazing at
I'm
staying
the
humble.
Right, there's a
Potter
joke.
is the best at staying
Sets it
humble.
up.
Yeah.
You got a mature sense of humor, this kid. You gotta love it. Boys, thank you for so much for doing this for Father's Day. I really, really appreciated it. I know it may have felt scary at the beginning, and you were wondering what we were going to be able to talk about or how it was going to go, but I think you both did great.
Is there like an ending thing to this? Do we say like some catchphrases?
I do a little ending, but usually we end this part where Grady does a fart noise. So do either of you want to do some fart noises into the mics?
Not it.
All right. So then we could just do the classic goodbye. See you next week.
Well, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
See you next week. Or, well, I
Wait,
may not see you next
You're coming back next week?
I may not see you next
Okay.
week, but maybe. Who knows?
Sorry, Will.
Who knows? We'll figure it out. Maybe 2 weeks from now.
All right. Maybe.
Maybe.
We'll see.
You're always welcome. Bye.
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 So that's our very special episode with me and Potter and Sawyer and the great pizza debate of 2025, which will obviously rage over into 2026. This is what I wanted to do for Father's Day, and they were sweet enough to indulge me on that. Although I didn't say it during the thing, I think they know it. We say it a lot of the time. Boys, I love you. I love you so much, and thank you for indulging me on Father's Day and coming and having a conversation and being the thoughtful, caring people that I know you are. It means a lot to me. So thank you. And thank you for listening. If you like what you heard, this was the Last Will podcast. You can find us on any place where you get podcasts. You can download Spotify, iTunes. Please rate, review, and subscribe. That does us a great deal of goodness. If you could actually do it, just hit that subscribe button. If you want to reach out to us, we can be found at the Last Will podcast on Instagram, or you can email me at mattyoung@thelastwillpodcast.com. Till next time, the catchphrase that Potter was looking forward to: onward, forward.